So moving on to page 2, number 5A, the answer is 41.8. B was negative 59. Most people seem to get those right. C, I think, was 4. And I just want to say, when you look at C, right, I really encourage you to rewrite parts of this again and again and just simplify one thing at a time. So for example, 3 times 4 is 12. So I've got here 23 minus the quantity of 17 minus 12 squared. Well, 17 minus 12 is 5, so that's 23, minus 5 squared plus 6, which is 23 minus 25 plus 6, which is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 6, which is the number 4. So again, 5C was 4. I'm trying to look at it just as a little piece at a time like that. Let's see, on D, right, I've got 14. So there's a huge numerator, and then a multiplication problem, and then division by something in the denominator here. So if I was to look at this denominator, this set of parentheses has a 16 minus 9. And this other one has a 2 plus 3. I can do that. That's 5. But then I have to subtract from that 4. So what I have here is 5 minus 4 is 1. So I've got a numerator of 14, because 14 times 1 is 14, divided by, and 16 minus 9 is 7. So I end up with 14 divided by 7, which is 2. That was D. When I look at A right off the bat, I know the answer is going to be negative because I'm multiplying a negative times a negative, which make a positive value, times another negative. And this is 20 times 2, so we're looking at negative 40. On B, we have a negative 5, another negative 5, and a negative 1, which is negative 11. C is 68, and then minus 7 times negative 6, which is 42. So 42, 8 minus 2 is 6, and 6 minus 6 minus 4 is 2, so we've got 26. And I forgot to write the negative 11 here. And then the last problem on this group is D. D, we have 4 times negative 6, which is negative 24. Of course, multiplication comes first in terms of the order of operation. Then I'm going to add to that plus a negative 6. When I combine those two together, I get negative 30. So C was negative 30. All right. 7, for each of the following relation, find inputs that yield the given outputs. If there's no possible input for the given output, explain why not. So if I'm looking at A, but I can see that the output, y, is going to be the value negative 2. So I want to know what x is, right? What value of x would I put into this function to produce that output? Well, to solve that, I could just substitute this y value, negative 2, in for y right here. So I could write negative 2 is equal to 3x plus 7. If I subtract 7 from both sides, 7, 8, 9, I get a negative 9 is equal to 3x. And if I divide both sides by 3, I get that x has to equal a negative 3. So the value when x is negative 3, when that's fed into this function, negative 2 is my output. I said negative 3. For B, I can see that I get an 8. And one of the things I know CPM will talk about this later, but it's kind of a chunk. If you look at it, there's this chunk here of 2x plus 24. Well, the square root of 64 is 8. If I take the square root of 64, I get 8. I know that this chunk has to equal the number 64. So one way to approach this is to say, look, I'm looking for a value of x that will make 2x plus 24 equal to 8. And the reason why is once I take the square root of that, I would get this positive 8 for my output. So if I subtract 24 from both sides, I would get 40 is 2x. And then if I divide both sides by 2, right, we get that x is equal to 20. So the input that would produce an answer of 8 is 20. And you can run that back in there, 2 times 20 plus 24, which is 40 plus 24. And 40 plus 24 is 64. And yeah, the square root of 64 is indeed the value 8. So that's the end of the second page.